Hi guys and girls, this is the alternative Sunday morning What It Says in the Papers broadcast. We can't afford Marion Finucane, so do bear with my little show. Please check out my first YouTube broadcast, Irish Water reports violent protests nationwide. This is based on an article in the Sunday Independent, 17th of August, entitled Death Threats to Irish Water Workers. This present broadcast is about a second report in the Sunday Independent on the 23rd of November entitled Protest Gardai Under Protection from Water Mob. The article goes on, sinister fringe target officers' home addresses. A number of Gardai involved in policing anti-water protests are receiving protection after their home addresses were identified by sinister fringe elements, the Sunday Independent has learned. It's also emerged that the Gardai had batons and pepper sprays stolen from them during last weekend's protest, in which Taoiseach Joan Burton was held hostage in her car in Tallaght for more than 2 hours. The latest developments follow anonymous death threats made against Environment Minister Alan Kelly and Tipperary Fine Gael TD Noel Coonan of ISIS fame, who was forced to withdraw controversial comments he made last week when he compared Dublin people to ISIS terrorists. The Sunday Independent has learned the Garda Special Branch alerted a number of uniformed Gardai involved in policing protests in Dublin that efforts were being made to identify their home addresses through Facebook. Facebook again. Oh, that's responsible for so much trouble. A female Gardai who was understood to have been accused by protesters of using her pepper spray to disperse troublesome protesters is under protection after her address was identified. Horror of horrors. There was consternation among Gardai involved in policing last weekend's protest in Jobstown. Gardai equipment was stolen when officers were apparently ordered to stand facing Miss Burton's car rather than facing the protesters. Several Gardai were left battered and bruised during the circumstances. One officer suffered burns to his legs after being pressed up against the radiator of the Taoiseach's car. I smell some compo here for that lucky Gardai. There was concern Gardai were unprepared for the event, and there was considerable confusion during the early part of the protest, when many officers apparently did not know who was in charge of the Gardai or the protesters. The incident was only brought under control when the Gardai Public Order Unit, which had been on duty in the city centre, was called rapidly to the scene. Meanwhile, around 250 people, many of them young mothers with their children, took part in a peaceful protest yesterday past the Tallaght High Education Centre, where the Taoiseach was besieged last weekend. The anti-water demonstration paraded around the Jobstown area before stopping for a family-orientated rally with music by local band Levelheads and speeches by Anti-Austerity Alliance TD Paul Murphy and local Sinn Féin representative Cathal King. Mr. Murphy claimed media coverage of last weekend's events outside An College had demonised the 99% of purely peaceful protesters as a mob. He cited the words of Irish Labour Party founder James Connolly and said it was the mob who had started its upward march to power, a power realised in the Socialist Republic, abolished religious persecution, established the value of human life, softened the horrors of war, compelled trial by jury, and abolished the death penalty. It is the mob, the mass of ordinary working class people, he continued, who will transform this society, who will defeat the water charges. Now, the Independent lists a horrifying group of these sinister Republican elements, etc. And it says here, the protest groups at a glance. First, Republican groups, Sinn Féin, Éireagh, another splinter group, which broke away from Sinn Féin. 32 County Sovereignty Movement, who set up a political wing of the main dissident Republican terror group, the IRA, the real IRA. Irish Republican Voice, another dissident terror group. Republican Sinn Féin, yet another dissident terror group. And among the non-Republican terror groups are People Before Profit. Oh heavens, poor Richard Boyd Barrett, he won't like that. Workers' Solidarity, terming itself Marxist and anarchist. And we have, it says, other groups as well. A bewildering array of anti-government groups have sprung up in recent years, including groups who are seeking a complete dismantling of the state apparatus, probably anarchists of some kind, and a return to medieval system of rule and Brehon laws to replace the common law and policing system. This stuff is all in the Independent, if you don't believe me, the 23rd of December. So that's the report. That's the end of this Sunday's Alternative Marion Finucane show. So I urge you to Google my other first video, and also to check out this article in the Sunday Independent entitled Protest Gardai Under Protection from Water Mob. So mind boggles. What more can we say except have a nice day?